NASA loses nearly 4,000 employees through Deferred Resignation program. In a significant move that has stirred discussions across the space community, nearly 4,000 employees at NASA have chosen to exit the agency through a Deferred Resignation program initiated during the Trump administration. This decision, announced by NASA on Saturday, represents a staggering reduction of approximately 20% of the agency's workforce, shrinking its total from 18,000 to just 14,000 employees. According to NASA spokesperson Cheryl Warner, this figure also accounts for an additional loss of 500 employees due to regular attrition, which is the natural turnover of staff. The second phase of this resignation program, which concluded at midnight on Friday, saw around 3,000 employees opting to leave, following the initial 870 who participated in the first round. This wave of resignations aligns with the Trump administration's broader strategy to downsize the federal workforce, a plan that has been influenced by recommendations from the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE. As of now, it remains uncertain when these workforce reductions will be fully implemented, and NASA has not provided clarity on how these cuts will impact the agency's operations. NPR has reached out to the White House for further comments on this matter. In addition to workforce reductions, the administration has proposed significant budget cuts for NASA. The fiscal year 2026 budget request, released in May, suggests a reduction of approximately 24% in funding, dropping from nearly $25 billion to around $19 billion. However, discussions are ongoing in both the House and Senate regarding recommendations that could maintain the agency's funding at its current levels. On a more positive note, NASA recently received a boost in funding prospects beyond the upcoming fiscal year. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act, signed into law by Trump earlier this month, allocates nearly This funding is intended to support ambitious projects, including missions to Mars and plans for a return to the moon. The proposed budget cuts and changes at NASA have not gone unnoticed, drawing criticism from various scientists and space advocacy organizations. Notably, the Planetary Society, a non-profit organization led by Bill Nye, has voiced strong opposition to the White House's budget proposal. They argue that a great nation deserves a robust space program that embodies national ideals and serves the public good. In their statement, they emphasize that the proposal not only falls short of expectations, but actively undermines the unique opportunity NASA has to foster unity domestically and collaboration internationally through American leadership in space. In a show of solidarity, over 300 current and former NASA employees recently signed a letter known as the Voyager Declaration, which was sent to interim NASA Administrator Sean Duffy. This letter criticizes what they describe as rapid and wasteful changes within the agency, including cuts to vital programs and research initiatives. The signatories urged Duffy to reconsider the proposed cuts, asserting that such measures do not align with the best interests of NASA. As we reflect on these developments, one can't help but wonder, what does the future hold for NASA and its ambitious goals in space exploration? Are these cuts a necessary step towards efficiency, or do they jeopardize the very essence of what NASA stands for? We invite you to share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. NASA workforce exodus. Over 20% of employees request to leave. A shocking revelation has emerged from NASA's workforce, with nearly 4,000 employees, equivalent to a staggering 20% of the agency's total staff, expressing their desire to leave. This news, confirmed by NASA to CBS News, has sent ripples through the space community. But here's where it gets controversial. Through the Trump administration's Deferred Resignation program, approximately 3,870 employees have applied to depart NASA in 2 rounds. The program, a buyout initiative, was introduced to reduce federal government costs and shrink the workforce. With the deadline for applications looming, NASA's civil servant workforce is set to shrink significantly, from around 18,000 to 14,000 personnel. NASA spokesperson Cheryl Warner emphasized the agency's commitment to safety and efficiency, stating, "Safety remains a top priority as we strive to become more streamlined and efficient while pursuing an era of exploration and innovation, including missions to the Moon and Mars." During the first round of the Deferred Resignation program, around 870 employees applied to leave, with approximately 3,000 more following suit in the second round. This mass exodus has raised concerns about NASA's future, especially given the proposed budget cuts for fiscal year 2026, which would see NASA's funding slashed by 25%, from $24 billion to $18 billion. And this is the part most people miss. NASA has also been grappling with a leadership crisis. In December, President Trump nominated Jared Isaacman, a friend of Elon Musk, to be NASA's next administrator. However, just before the Senate confirmation vote in May, Mr. Trump withdrew Isaacman's nomination, leading to a public fallout between Trump and Musk. In a recent development, President Trump announced that Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy would temporarily lead NASA. With these dramatic changes and the potential loss of experienced personnel, NASA's future direction and capabilities are uncertain. The question remains, will NASA be able to maintain its position as a leader in space exploration with these challenges? What are your thoughts on this situation? Do you think NASA can overcome these obstacles and continue its mission? Share your opinions in the comments below. NASA's budget cuts. Impact on U.S. aerospace industry. In a world where space exploration and commercial aviation are pushing the boundaries of human achievement, NASA's recent budget cuts have sent shockwaves through the industry. But here's where it gets controversial. Could these cuts this year? However, only 25 individuals were permitted to attend each event strictly for presenting purposes. This drastic reduction not only diminished the NASA presence, but also affected the overall vibrancy of the conferences. Graham Warwick, executive editor for technology at Aviation Week, along with senior editor Guy Norris and Space and Emerging Technologies editor Garrett Rhyme, attended the conferences. Their observations paint a concerning picture of the impact these budget cuts are having on NASA's ability to contribute to U.S. competitiveness in both commercial aviation and space exploration. It was a shadow of its previous incarnation, Guy Norris reflected, acknowledging that despite the event's overall quality, the government and NASA's presence was notably absent. The aeronautics research sector in particular has faced severe budget reductions, dropping to around 3.5% of NASA's total budget of roughly $20 billion at its peak. Yet this modest allocation has historically produced groundbreaking advancements, including the supercritical wing, fly-by-wire winglets, computational fluid dynamics, advanced wind tunnel techniques, and electrified aircraft technologies. More recently, NASA's Environmentally Responsible Aviation (ERA) program has led to innovations like the energy-efficient engine, which form the foundation for engines like GE's GE90 and GEX. These achievements underscore the significant impact that even a small, efficiently managed budget can have on technological progress. The exhibition area also reflected the diminished NASA presence. In previous years, major exhibitors like NASA, Boeing, Northrop Grumman, and Lockheed Martin would showcase their latest technologies. This year, their booths were largely empty, highlighting the broader implications of reduced NASA involvement. Garrett Rhyme echoed similar sentiments regarding the space side of the conference. With proposed budget cuts of around 24% for NASA overall and a staggering 50% reduction for the Science and Mission Directorate, the space industry felt the brunt of these changes. Even a planned International Space Station Research and Development Conference had to be canceled due to lack of NASA participation. Beyond the immediate impact on conferences, the long-term consequences are equally troubling. Bob Pierce, Associate Administrator for Aviation Mission Director, revealed that NASA is facing a potential 37 to 40% cut which will necessitate significant adjustments. This includes scaling back on large-scale X-plane programs and losing critical expertise as older employees retire and younger professionals move on. The loss of this middle tier of expertise is particularly concerning. Historically, NASA has often been the custodian of specialized knowledge, ensuring continuity even when industrial interest wanes. For example, after the X-51 hypersonic aircraft project in the early 2000s, NASA's hypersonics team remained intact, allowing the U.S. to quickly re-engage in hypersonic research when interest resurfaced through the Department of Defense. But here's where it gets controversial. The current lack of a clear vision for NASA's future priorities leaves many questions unanswered. With Elon Musk's involvement in the administration potentially shifting focus towards Mars exploration, his departure creates uncertainty about the agency's goals. This ambiguity makes it difficult for smaller companies to plan for the future, as they rely on NASA's support and guidance. In conclusion, while the conferences showcased ongoing advancements in blended wing bodies, future propulsion concepts, and unidentified aerial phenomena, the overarching theme was one of concern. The phrase "mind the gap" aptly captures the growing chasm between NASA's current state and its potential to drive innovation and maintain U.S. leadership in aerospace technology. So, what can be done? As listeners, it's crucial to stay informed and engaged. Reach out to your representatives and advocate for sustained investment in NASA. After all, the future of aerospace technology depends on it.